The Ezendibo Island, we are still talking about single parents. And do you think it's high time single parents who are not taking responsibilities, high time they sit up and start doing the needful?
Well, I'll hate to just blame the issues of antisocial behavior and underachievement amongst our children squarely on the shoulders of single mothers. There are a lot of single mothers there who are doing a wonderful job. A lot of single mothers who are raising wonderful children, great achievers. So I don't want us to stereotype the single mother or blame the single mother for the problems that some of our youngsters are exhibiting. I don't think it's so much of a problem of a single parentage, although we have accepted, and I said it earlier, that children do better where there are both parents at home. But in some circumstances, you find out that some families end up being single parent families. And we have looked at some of the causes. It's been said about, some fathers not being there, not because they don't want to be there, either they are in another part of the world, and sometimes economic circumstances force, parents, parents to move to one area of the world while the other. So there's so many issues there. And then you also have strife and, breakdown of relationship. Now, one of the biggest challenges we have within the community here is marriage breakdown, relationship breakdown, family breakdown. Within the African community, this issue is becoming very serious. We're beginning to see a lot of families breaking up. We're beginning to see a lot of divorces. We're beginning to see a lot of separation. And when these things happen, it impacts on the family. And in most cases, children bear the brunt of it. And sometimes children respond to these developments, in different ways, and sometimes not so positively. Some of the children we see, going astray are sometimes children who have had to deal with, divorce, who have had to deal with marital breakdown, who have experienced domestic violence at home, who have not had much love from both parents, and what have you. So we need to look at this, from, take a holistic approach, to it, and understand that, yes, it is not. I know that some people feel that it is a choice, that they can decide, I want to have children, I don't need a man in my life. It is a lifestyle decision. But then there are consequences for that, But there are people who also feel that, no, you don't need to have a husband, you don't need to have a man and a woman raise, children for them to be good. You also have people who are, gay, who feel that, you don't have to, two men can raise, wonderful children, So, I mean, it's a different thing altogether. But what we need to look at as individuals, whether we are single parents or whether we are married, husband and wife, are we doing what we are supposed to do? In doing what we're supposed to do, do we also get support from the system to do what we are supposed to do? These are very serious issues that we need to address. Okay. Like I said, within our migrant community here, culture is a very important issue. A lot of our children have crisis of identity. First generation immigrant parents coming from Africa who have had children here, you expect them to behave like an African, to reflect where they come from, and they also have a pressure to conform with, the Irish way of life. And then you as a father yourself, or as a parent, you are not reinforcing some of the positive things about your culture on your children. When I talk about culture, look at the Indians, look at the Chinese. They're strict. They adhere strictly to their culture. If an Indian child was born in Ireland, or a Chinese child, they speak Chinese language. Even before they go to primary school, they speak Chinese language. They follow the Chinese way of life. Okay? They respect their parents. Certain things are expected of them. The Indians, they believe, because the parents have gone ahead to stamp on them to teach them their cultural values. So there are things you don't expect to see an Indian boy doing on the streets of Dublin. There are things you will not expect a Chinese teenager doing on the streets of Dublin. Are they not teenagers as well? What about our own African children? Do they have a code? No. Do we have a value system? No. Do they have to conform to certain ways? No. Because we have not told them who they are. Because sometimes even we ourselves, as parents, do not know who we are. Exactly. We do not understand where we're coming from. And if you don't know who you are and where you're coming from, you are completely lost. So it's very important that we deal with these issues, that children understand that, listen, there are expectations. Our value system, our African culture is one that promotes solid hard work, respect, community spirit, respect for others, and respect for yourself.
Very important.
All this is missing. And when you take us as a people together, we are dragging and pushing in different directions. The Yorubas are not united in Ireland. The Igbos are not united. The Ishan, the Edos are not united. We don't even love one another. So it's important that, we embrace our culture. It's important also that we make our children take pride in their culture, in their identity as Africans, in their identity as black people, because when they understand who they are and where they're from, they can be confident, about who they are and about how they deal with society. So you find, like I said, the community itself, because when you look at the society, children are products of the community that they operate in. The African community, the way it is now, and in the interpersonal relationships we have, do not encourage youngsters to bring out the best out of them. As a matter of fact, most even youngsters do not want to associate with other Africans or within the African community, because they say all you people do is quarrel. All you do is quarrel and not whatever there. So, I mean, without going in much into adult issues, those other issues there, we need as a people to parents and as community leaders, to tackle this problem as much as we have identified some of these issues, some of these challenges. Because back home, we have a community response to issues. We say that it takes
two to have a child, and it takes a village to raise that child. So we should bring it into.
So we need to bring that into our fold there, so that we're beginning to respond to these issues. Sometimes single parents or even married couples can't deal with it all by themselves. We need to have mentoring schemes that we organize. We need to get involved, either from part of community leaders, professionals. We need to talk to our youngsters. We need to guide them. Sometimes they don't get the right guidance, support from school, mentoring within the community. For those who want to become carpenters, learn a trade, those who want to become doctors, those who want to become scientists, those who want to become nurses. There should be African nurses, professionals out there volunteering their time to kind of mold, explain and help these youngsters, get to where they want to get to. Sometimes, it's very challenging, for them, but we must give a lot of support. And again, the response, just finally, like I said, as much as there are problems within the African community, there is, we have parenting issues and all that. The society, like I said, within the extended society, the Irish institutions, the schools themselves, social services, they are not responding and dealing with some of these issues as much as they should. And there's not enough funding devoted to that. The response to issues affecting black children or the immigrant community, sometimes you have this, what do I put it, this emergency approach to it. You don't have a well-developed, sustained, systematic development to deal with it, because you have people who have just arrived from a new an immigrant from another part of the world, who are here, who do not have the support that some of their classmates have. They have aunts, they have uncles, they have grandparents, they have a whole lot of support, within the system. Sometimes it is lacking and it's not being provided, and there's not a gap there to deal with these issues. So we need support. Single mothers need support. Married couples need support generally. These children as well who are underperforming in schools need support, and the school system must respond to it, because they're, at the end of the day, Irish citizens. If they are underachieving, the society will be affected in general.
I would like to quickly say that, okay.
Because I'm in the school system. The school system has enough support system. If only parents were coming to access. A lot of, you just said it that some parents wouldn't even show up for parents-teachers meeting. How would you know your child's performance? How would you know his performance when you don't show up? There are loads of support system there. My children went through these things. I have teachers from schools who will come home to give my children extra lesson for free.